Books teach us, they inspire us, they challenge us, and they expand our horizons. Books contain the best thoughts of the greatest minds in history, but the problem is, there are millions to choose from. So what should you invest your time reading? What should you spend your money on? How do you sort through all the bullshit and find the good shit? You let the superior men do the work. Matt and Jay take the best books, pick the most important points, and distill them down to a concentrated 30-minute podcast. We help you find the books you need to read and why you need to read them. You may even learn something. So take out your coffee, tea, a glass of wine, or a good IPA. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Welcome to the Superior Men Bookcast.
This is the Superior Men Bookcast. I am your host, Jay, together with my host, Matt. Today, we're going to be discussing Athol Kay's excellent book, The Mindful Attraction Plan. The Mindful Attraction Plan is Kay's follow-up book to his first, the Married Men Sex Primer, and it is an excellent book. The main focus is about being mindful and increasing your attractiveness.
Hence Mindful Attraction Plan.
So mindful attraction, and then the plan is he gets in the second part of the book on the how to do the mindful attractioning, which is definitely a word, attractioning. The goal is he's writing this book to try and help people, well, kind of an extension of the Married Man Sex Primer to help guys get more sex, but also kind of as a tangential thing as you are starting to move towards having more sex in your life. You start noticing all the other areas in your life are all kind of connected, and that's one of the fascinating parts about this book.
And it's one of the parts too with red pill philosophy sort of in general, which is improving yourself, which is a great part of this book, and it's one of the main, I would say it's the main tenet, which is improving yourself.
Such an important part of that attractiveness thing. You can't really become more attractive by doing nothing.
Right.
As much as you would love to be able to just sit on the couch and suddenly get blowjobs on a daily basis,
that's not going to work.
It's not going to work. Kay talks about this concept of energy coming in sets. And so the audience of the book, anybody that needs to improve their life from kind of low level, mid level, up level, he has kind of four basic categories of sets, energy sets: a dead sex life, you're broke, messy house, health conditions, kind of depressed. Then the next set up of that, poor sex life, just barely scraping by financially, untidy, some health issues, fairly unhappy. Then a better sex life, got a little bit of money, house is kind of clean, good health, happy. And then finally the highest energy set, great sex life, excess income, your house is, you don't even clean it anymore, you got somebody else taking care of it for you, excellent health, and just doing really well. But the idea is you fix one thing, you increase the cleanliness of your house, get a little bit healthier, start working out a little bit more, start making a little bit more money. It'll start to upgrade all the other things in that energy set, takes you to the next level.
And what it does is really that plan, the mindful attraction, the plan, the map that we talk about, and we've spoken to this on our other podcasts as well as on our website. But this is something too it gives you a plan, almost a step-by-step guide on wherever you are in that continuum from that first level where you may be an incel in your parents' basement, all the way up to that highest level. No matter what and no matter where you are, you should be gaining and you should be improving.
And the cool thing about the book is that it really kind of, on a step-by-step basis, kind of gives you a ladder.
Right, and that is the good part about it. It's one of the things too with this book. Very easy to read. I actually went through this book in one sitting. It's about 200 pages long. I I actually think I sat and read the book in about 2.5 or 3 hours. I went through the book pretty quick on my first read. Went through it again. I've been through the book several times just because there's so many gems of information in there. So this book is only available in print format. So either you're buying the paperback or there's a Kindle version, I believe, on Amazon. So you're getting one of those. There's no audiobook, at least at this time, beginning of 2019. There's no audiobook for it. It's a very easy read, but it gives you a lot of information to digest as you're going through, and that to me is key to this. So I was also looking at some of the book reviews on here. So it was released in 2013. There's not a ton of reviews on it on Amazon. So if you guys have read this book, go to Amazon, leave a review for it. I'm in no way connected with Athol Kay, but it's a great book, and it's something we need to make sure that we are pushing out. There's, a lot of the reviews on here, several people have said, tremendously helped my marriage. Everything about this has been a great thing. So it's something that I can't recommend highly enough for that. And the reviews are all bearing that out as well.
It's fascinating to me and kind of awesome, really. It's so rare that you get an opportunity to find such a good book that nobody else knows about. This one, I mean, how can you have under 100 reviews for a book that's so cool?
And so powerful.
Yeah, it's just so much great information in there. His first book, the 2011 Married Man Sex Life Primer,
which I do have on my bookshelf right now.
Good. Also very good book. That one is kind of like more sexually concentrated, and this one's kind of like not just about sex, but about how to take those concepts, those sets of energy, expand them out. Athol Kay, real interesting guy too. I did not know that he was from. Did you know he's from New Zealand?
I've seen some videos, so
okay.
Picked up the accent on there. But yeah, he has a degree in sociology from Victoria University. He was married at 21. And this was one of the things that I thought was interesting. Originally intended to go into the ministry, had a crisis of faith, and left the church. So, but is still doing something to go and help guys out, which is fantastic. So let's dig into some of the content here of the book. It's broken up into two big pieces, right? So we have part 1, part 2. Part 1, where we're talking about fixing the solution, and part 2, fixing the problem.
I love that, fixing the solution.
I do too. It's great. And it actually has. I have a quote on that in a little bit. It's one of my favorites. But really, and I don't know. Maybe it's just being a guy that this really works for me. I like having sort of that step-by-step guide, and that's sort of how this book works. It runs through and says, hey, look, here, we're dividing things up into several areas of your life, 6 different areas of your life, sort of identifying these are the things you need to fix now in each one of these 6 areas. And here's some other ones that's like, if you're doing these, you should be... you should pay attention to these things and work on fixing them. But then they identify them in colors: red, yellow, and green.
Yeah, that's what I loved. I love the fact I'm a pretty visual person, and also I like it when things are as simple as possible. Red, universal, that's not good. We don't want red, except Matt's new truck, which is beautiful red. But even that truck, he wants everyone else to stop while he flies by him. Red, not so good. Yellow, obviously something you need to work on. You need to be aware. It's cautious.
Yeah, warning.
And green is good. And he splits that up, the 3 basic states. That red state is the state where you're being drained. He talks. We'll discuss a little bit later in kind of the second part here. But draining your energy, things that are draining draining your energy, people that are draining your energy. Stagnant is things that are blocking your energy and kind of like interrupting it from its full, complete flow. And then the green is that flowing, your flow state, highly productive, highly energetic. And each one of the things that he discusses, and there's maybe 100? More than 100?
Yeah, as far as each one of the individual items, there's a ton of them. But I really like again, each category has red, yellow, green. Red, stop immediately. Yellow, once you've stopped the reds, then you need to work on the yellows. But this is one of the things that I think differs from a lot of these types of books, where it's saying, hey, also in this category, here are some good things. If you're doing these good things, keep doing these good things. And keep working on whatever those are. That is so important. And it's something I think we all can do. I think a lot of times we focus on the negative. Stop doing that. Jay, stop doing that. You need to stop this. You need to stop that. You need to stop eating carbs. You need to, it's always like on a negative thing, and it's very little like, hey, what are you doing? Oh, you're running? Great. Well, that's awesome. Keep that up. And that's sort of how this works. And we'll refer to this as Mindful Attraction Plan, right? MAP. We'll refer to it as that while we're talking here.
Following the map. So really, really quick here, without getting into too much detail. What are our main 6 categories we're discussing?
So the 6 that we have here, we're talking body, money, our high value, our value as a person, relationship comfort, personality, and sex. So those are the 6 pieces that we're really talking about in this book, and we break each one of those down. Also, I will put here on the show notes a copy over to a spreadsheet that I've created that may help you out. So we'll put that on here too.
If you like to have some detail oriented, you are on the right podcast. Matt is your guy for that. I have a little bit of that kind of tendency as well. We like to have things as simple as possible, but if you like charts and graphs and you need information categorized in a way that's super easy to access, especially a decent amount of it, you're in the right place here on our podcast. But this 6 basic categories, I love how he just condenses that down, because when your health is not working correctly, when you're in a drained health state, everything else is going to be affected. Well, and I love the fact that each one of these things, he says, this is what you focus on first.
Yeah,
then next.
And for all of these things too, you can't really get into improving one of these areas of your life without fixing the other areas, because guess what? You're not a segmented person, you're a whole person. And all of these areas go into each other. They all do. So you're not going to have a great body if your personality is suffering horribly. Or if so, you may have a good body, but ultimately you're not going to be as happy and healthy and complete of a person without that. So you need all of those pieces. You need all of these pieces here. And if you take care of, even if all you did is you skimmed through and looked at all the reds that were in here, and you stop doing all of those things, you're going to notice an immediate improvement.
That's 100% accurate. The other thing that I think that's really great about this is because he has so many little things, and a lot of these things are kind of like smaller things to pay attention to. Reds sometimes can be fixed right away.
Right.
Some of that stuff. If somebody's like genuinely saying bad things to you, it's like you really need to start actively working on distancing yourself from that person and changing that relationship like right away.
Well, and I love what he says in here, because he talks about those things, people, things, whatever they are, and refers to them as your vampire. Get rid of that vampire. That is such a crucial part of this, where you're going, well, what is sucking that energy out? So let's look at, I have a few questions here for you. So we kind of talked about the content of the book here, but and we've touched a little bit, but let's dive into our thoughts and what our opinions are of this book here. So,
perfect. I have some.
Right? Yeah. So, what is give me, Jay, what's like your overall opinion of the book, or maybe some things that really stood out? What do you like? What do you like about this book?
I would say, first of all, I really enjoyed the book. I've read it. First of all, when you introduced me to it, read through it. I think maybe that same day, or 2 days. Like you're saying, you can get through it quick, especially if you're absorbing a lot of the data. It's each page almost is like not even a full page of material. It's more like, here's a couple of thoughts, bam, on to the next one. And I liked that. I liked how many little things that there were, and every single one of his questions that he asks you are kind of areas that you have to work on is potent. And even going back through, it's been, I don't know, maybe a year or more since I've read it. Even going back through, I'm like, ooh, I could change that. Ooh, I could change this. So I enjoy that, and it's the kind of book that you want to reference multiple times. Like, you don't just read it once and toss it and be like, I got it all. There's a lot of really great potent material. Super simple, so I really enjoy kind of that. And
as that reread as well, it's very potent as a reread. Reading it again, I actually have some thoughts on that too. So how about we love quotes. I love quotes. Powerful quotes here. So give me a quote. What's a standout quote that you have, or if you have a couple, that's fine too. But give me one. What do you got?
I would say one of the ones that really, really stood out to me is this idea that getting the love, sex, and happiness you want are the side effects of having high personal energy. He talks a lot about energy through this book, and if you're the kind of person that you hear energy and people talking about changing your energy and opening up your energy and all this stuff, that sounds a little woo-woo.
Yeah, that's me. Totally, for sure.
He concentrates on, like, it's not about that. It's really what you're feeling. If it makes you feel good, it has higher energy. If it makes you feel bad, that's low energy. If you walk into a room, the room is dirty, it automatically sucks some of your soul out, just right yep. being there. And anything that you do that increases one of your energy levels moves into the next. So connected quote here, it doesn't matter what your work on, just as long as you're doing something positive to improve your overall energy level. So if you're not, like, if you're just sitting on the couch, get up, walk around the block, and that will improve your overall energy level. You'll come back and suddenly you'll be like, okay, now I'm motivated to clean the kitchen. Then you do that and you're like, oh, that feels great. I'm going to go and actually start working on that project that I need to do. Everything that you do affects everything else, and I love that.
And it's 100% true. You have, and I talk about this too. You have something that takes you less than 5 minutes to do. Don't sit there and have a conversation with yourself. Do it. Just do it. Just get the thing done. There's something that's sitting out there. You have a dirty dish. Just clean it. Feels better anyway. When you're done, it's done. And I think that's a huge one here. So tell me, what did you learn from this book? Because I know this is really like kind of two pieces. This book is really about it's about improving yourself, and then sort of the second part is about improving your relationship with whatever the vampire is, and a lot of it is going to be looking at a relationship. So what did you learn from this book?
I think probably the biggest one that I learned from this book, and especially going back through, because like you're saying, it's one of those books that you read more than one time, but the one that grabbed me the most recently here is that it's really important to know what you want. What do you want for your life? So this is my third quote, because I know you asked for one. He says, decide what you want. If you don't know what you want, no one else is going to tell you. But this is the key, a big key issue for so many people, and for me too, because I have a tendency to try and make people happy. If you don't know what you want, you'll typically start falling into the stronger frame of other people who are seeking to get what they want. Their inaction They have a higher energy level than you do, so it's easy for them to sway you and catch you up into their dreams rather than you living your own dreams. So I would say that's probably this concept of energy. Energy is always at play. If you're working hard and you're doing stuff, you'll get people on board with your life. You'll get your own self on board with your own life. If you're not, if you're a lower energy state, and especially that victim-vampire relationship he talks about, you get sucked into their thing. You do their thing, their drama, their stress, their pain and suffering, their issues in their own life. You get sucked into that, and then you don't get to live your own life. And he really focuses on skipping over that, getting rid of that, and moving into the place where you're in charge of your own situation. I love that.
Cool. No, great. Real briefly here, give me a critique.
I would say probably the one thing that stood out to me is that I kind of would like to have a little bit more. I mean, it's punchy and it's great, and it's more like almost like an extended pamphlet or handbook, rather than a book that really gives me a chance to kind of sink my teeth into it. But because I'm the kind of person, I like reading like a Jordan Peterson book that takes me 15-20 hours to read, or a George Martin novel, or one of the big novels where I'm like, I get to just really go into that whole world. And this one is not that, but for what it is, I'm okay with that. I'm willing to skip ahead because what he does offer is such high value. All right,
so give me real quick, and we'll kind of turn this over here. Give me a question you would ask the author.
I would say I would really just like to know for himself. First of all, why don't you do an audiobook with your wonderful Kiwi accent?
Right.
And then the second question would be, where are you at now? It's 2013. When you wrote this, it's 2018 now. I want to see more. You have such great material.
It's 2019. Actually.
It is.
Yeah. I know.
2019.
I know.
It's 2019. So it's 6 years. Get on the ball, man. I want to see more material that you have. What are you working on now? Because I really do like his mindset and the way he looks at it. I think it's time to turn the tables here, Matt.
All right.
I think it's time to ask you some questions. I want to know, what do you think? We've discussed this before. Overall opinion of this book. What do you think? What do you really like about this one?
So my favorite really is that it is a call to action, and it is a direct. It really is I know mindful attraction plan. I love it, but I really like looking at it as a map. It is a guide in order to improve yourself. I think I've been in some very low places in my life, as we all have, and when it's very easy to just sort of circle the drain on that and not be able to get a bigger picture of things. And if you have 100 things going on in your life and 99 of them are bad, it's hard to see how you're going to get out of it. And I really like that this really looks at these things like, these are bad things in your life. They don't help you. Work on these things. Get going, get moving, and you'll be able to see significant improvement right away. I love it. That's one of my favorite things here.
So what you're saying here is that the mindful attraction plan for guys that are in a situation like this, and women too, is really a map,
right,
to get out of the mess.
It absolutely is. And to me, that's the big thing, is you can look at this, you can take this, and if you're an analytical person like me, and again, you'll see the spreadsheet on here, where you can just kind of take a quick self-assessment going through this and just go, I got it. Okay, so maybe I need to work on these things. I actually have a monthly reminder to go through this, and this is something that I have done now for about 2 years, going through with this book. So this is something significant for me.
Oh wow! That I didn't know you were doing that. That's really cool. We'll have to talk more about that at some point. Moving on. Give me a quote.
All right, my favorite one here is right at the beginning, and it has to do with fixing the solution. A problem and a bad solution will result in two problems. A problem and simply ignoring it remains just one problem. A problem and a real solution equals no problem. Therefore, if you've tried everything you can think of and you're still lonely, broke, unhappy, overweight, in a bad relationship, or undersexed, your real problem is your attempted solution. Before we fix your problem, we have to fix your solution. And that's that whole definition of insanity thing, right? You keep doing the same thing, wanting a different result, but you're not getting a different result. You're getting the same thing every time. But that's what we do. It's just like, well, I just got to white knuckle it and go even more, and I'll just try extra hard for this thing. And he provides a different avenue and a different solution, and working on your own solution in a better way. And I love it. It is a great way of thinking about it.
And it really helps you in any problem that you're at in your life. If you go, if I'm having trouble with this and I've been working on it for a while, it sounds like what I'm doing, my question is maybe needs to be changed. My solution needs to be changed rather than doing the same thing. That's awesome.
It's a paradigm shift.
I love that kind of stuff. All right, so overall here, what did you really learn from this book? How did it change you? It sounds like you've been working for a couple of years with it.
Yeah, it's something I think where it's really, this is why I say it's a great reread. So I have my spreadsheet that I go and I have a reminder every month, and I go and I take a look at it, and I kind of go through some of these areas, and I go, hey, am I slipping on some of these? Am I doing what I should be doing? Make sure that I'm kind of staying up with everything. It's something I recommend. It doesn't take very much time at all to go through, but it's changed me where I really look at you make these gains. It would be sort of like going to the gym for 3 years and getting 10 years, and you get an Arnold Schwarzenegger physique, and then you're like, well, I'm done. So now I'm just going to sit on the couch because I've achieved what I'm going to achieve. You got to maintain it, and that's where this one comes in for me. Well,
it sounds like this. I didn't realize you were spending this much time on it, but we've had multiple conversations over the years about this book, and you've continuously referred to it. So obviously it's made some pretty significant impacts for you, but it's neat to see exactly how much detail it's worked with you on that. And so flip side, give me a critique. What do you not like about this book?
So it's funny, I like the thing that you didn't like, that you didn't get enough substance out of it. I like that this is punchy and short, and I think that we cut off some of the fluff, which I really like about it. But what I didn't like, so I'm not really into like the energy states and flowing through and feeling your chakras or whatever. That's just not me. But what I would say my biggest thing is there was not as much explanation as far as on my initial read through as far as figuring out what your vampire was or what your vampire was. So I would say having a little bit more explanation is saying, look, we got to figure out your vampire's the bad thing. We got to figure out what the bad thing or things are and put a face and a name to those, and that'll be helpful.
Yeah, well, definitions of what's dragging you down, super valuable. If once you know what the demons are, then you can fight them.
Yep.
Maybe one final question that you would ask Kay if you had a chance.
I would ask him to write more. I enjoy his style. I want more. I'll just tag on to what you were saying because that's sort of where I'm at.
All right, and that is our show. That is our opinion of Athol Kay's Mindful Attraction Plan. Go pick it up. And for other great book recommendations and ways to improve your life, make sure to visit us at wearesuperiormen.com.
A reader lives 1,000 lives before he dies. The man who never reads lives only one. Thank you for listening to the Superior Men Bookcast. Share it with a friend. You heard our thoughts. Go read it for yourself.